You might have clicked on this video because you consider yourself a control freak, or your need for control has started getting in the way of you living your fullest, happiest life. In a recent poll I did on Instagram, 42% of you answered yes when asked if you consider yourself a control freak, and 58% of you answered sometimes when asked if you consider yourself a control freak. 0% of you said no or never. When asked how does it get in your way, the majority of you answered general stress and anxiety, followed by perfectionism and the inability to relax and or let life flow. First, I just want to say it's normal to crave control. Control is safe. However, most of us have realized at this point that it is not possible to always have control. And our need for it, our requirement for it is causing us unnecessary amounts of stress, and it's stealing our joy. If this is true for you or it resonates, stick around for the following meditation, which is by no means the entire answer to this question or to this issue, but it is a very helpful tool in allowing us or helping us to really start letting life flow a little more. This meditation is extremely simple and accessible. That doesn't mean it's not absolutely profound. We start, stay, and end with the breath. Our breath is quite literally our life force, or in yoga, we call it prana. From our life force, everything else fans out, right? It is the core of our existence. Without breath, there is no life, obviously. Everything we do, think, or experience is impacted by the way we are breathing. Most of us restrict the breath, mostly unconsciously. So yoga helps us become aware of this unconscious restriction, right? In our yoga classes, we breathe deeply and we open up, right, our constricted airways, and we really let more life in, which is a wonderful thing, an absolutely wonderful thing. However, this can also be a double-edged sword sometimes, because in my experience, once our attention is on the breath, it becomes really hard for us, right, the control freaks in us, to not also assert control over the breath, aka our life force. So this meditation is very much a both and situation. Our goal for this meditation is to both relax and allow the breath to be as full as it wants to be. Take note of that, as it wants to be, but also allow it to be the completely spontaneous function that it naturally is. In other words, for it to allow it to be completely natural. So when you're ready, go ahead and find a comfortable seat or lying position if you think you can stay awake. For me, I'm sitting on a pillow, a blanket, and I have 2 yoga blocks here to prop up my knees. That's sitting on the floor. You could also sit on a chair, you could sit on a couch, a bed, or you could even lie down, again, if you feel like you can stay awake, as long as you're finding your most comfortable position to meditate in. So when you're ready, settle on in to whatever position you choose. If you're comfortable, go ahead and close the eyes. Otherwise, always lowered gaze, soft gaze is always an option here. Take a couple initial breaths, right? Just letting a couple breaths wash over you. Maybe letting a couple out of the mouth. If you feel a little extra energy pent up, feel free to do that at any point. Big exhale out of the mouth to release that. Start to become more aware of your body itself, right? Sitting on the ground or a chair or lying down. Feeling into gravity and whatever is hitting or whatever is resting on that chair or bed or floor. Just giving that body time to settle in, time to become present in this moment. Possibly noticing right off the bat here any places of tension and tightness. And if you notice these places, just take a minute here to really invite those places with your conscious, loving attention to relax, to soften as much as they're able or willing, right? Sometimes we'll find places that are not willing, and that's okay. We can still send that invitation for space, maybe even for compassion, especially for those places that won't soften quite yet, at least. We can send our loving compassion to those areas as well. We'll just take a minute to do this. Noticing the body and noticing the breath, becoming aware of the breath itself. If you're sitting on something, sitting up nice and tall, yet at the same time relaxed. So we're balancing effort and ease here as much as we can, as softly as we can. And all we're going to be doing for the entirety of this meditation is to stay with the breath. Allowing the breath to be completely unforced, completely natural, and completely spontaneous. So as you follow, right, from inhale to exhale, doing just that, following the natural course of the ebb and flow of your breath. Releasing any control you have on either the inhale or the exhale, or maybe even the pauses in between. And just noticing what it feels like or what your experience is if you just sit back, maybe from the seat of the witness, and allow your body to breathe. knowing that there's no right or wrong, keeping your mind open, curious, and non-judgmental as much as you can. And whenever you find your mind wandering away, which it'll do again and again and again, right? This is our practice. We remind the mind to come back to the present, to come back to the body, checking in, making sure no unconscious tension or tightening has crept back in. Allowing those places to soften again and again and again, and allowing your mind to come back to this experience of the natural breath. Staying there as long as you can. Just to notice what happens. Maybe it's nothing at all. Maybe it's just peace. Maybe certain thoughts start to come into your view. Maybe start to notice the theme of those thoughts or the quality of those thoughts. Maybe the quality of your sensations or emotions right now that you're feeling or not feeling. But again and again, returning to the natural flow of the breath. Possibly noticing here what it's like to have your attention on something and not need to control it at all. And if you have the time and space and you're settled, now would be a good time to pause the video and stay as long as you can or are able in this space. If you're with me, take a couple more breaths here. Again, just letting the breath be as it wants to be. Take one final body scan from head to toe. Checking in with all the nooks and crannies, all the spaces of your body that your attention can touch. Noticing what's there or not there. To come out, we'll just very, very gently either open our eyes, and or start to notice our surroundings a little bit more. Maybe take any intuitive stretches that come to mind right away. And just allow yourself to softly be here. I'd like to thank you for practicing with me today. I hope you find ease in whatever capacity for the rest of your day, week, month, or even year. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.